Well, boys and girls, it's that time of the week again. You say, what time is it? It's 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the East Coast of America. And it's time for Standing in the Gaps, one of the wildest podcasts in the globe, because we are global. We're coming from two different locations outside of the US. And tonight we're excited because our title of this episode is The Elephant in the Room. You say, what elephant in the room? Well, if you've had your head in the sand and you haven't watched news at all, which some of you may do that, the elephant in the room was the shot that was heard around the world. And, the interesting thing, Aaron, is most, because of our ADD and the fact that we are on social media and we get things, constantly updated, we haven't moved on from this. I think it's going to be a topic of conversation for a while, mainly because of, the debacle, the evident debacle of what happened. You could say when debacle, well, clearly the assassin wanted to kill Trump, but it didn't happen. And also the Secret Service and the police and law enforcement, there's a whole bunch of, what I used to call conspiracy theories out there, and they still are until we figure out exactly what's going on. But, we're going to be talking about, the attempted assassination of Donald J. Trump, which, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise, he'll be the 45th and 47th president of the United States. So without further ado, I'll turn it over to the man, Aaron the man. Go ahead, Aaron.
All right, everybody. I'm not going to go through all the notes because we do want to jump in, but please subscribe on YouTube and check out our website. We have a lot on there, a lot of amazing guests coming, and very excited on what's around the corner. But yeah, I really want to jump right in and talk about what happened. We've been watching a lot of news, a lot of videos, to try to figure out, okay, in all of this, what's the truth? And that's what we want in Standing in the Gaps. We want the truth. We want to bring you the truth. And so we're trying to figure all that out in the chaos of what's happened and what's going to happen too. And I don't think that this is the end. I think that they're going to continue to try to kill Trump, even if he becomes president, even into his presidency. I think the United States government should invest more into the Secret Service now, because they need to like triple his detail. But yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting on what's going to happen.
I've said this before, not because of the latest attempt, but when the conservatives get upset, they vent, they make ridiculous comments on social media. But on the other side, they're apt to violence. Not the whole party, but the progressive part that they all adapt and the language, the rhetoric, incites. They talk about the J6 thing. Here Trump says go protest peacefully, and then you hear the diatribe out of the other side during some things, and they talk about the right to protest and get out there and make your voice heard and, do whatever you can, so it's like, they talk a talk, but then they walk a different walk. And so I think publicly they're talking about, that no one should have ever taken, the shot. But I personally believe, I don't want to connect all the dots here, but let's talk about the three, A, B, or C, Aaron. Okay, so A, either Donald Trump, and again, that's what's being floated out there. There's some really extreme stuff, so I won't talk about, but let's talk about there's three buckets that people are kind of falling into right now. We can't. A, Donald Trump and the Republican Party, stage this. B, Biden and the Democrats and Trump, wanted him taken out. Or C, a 20-year-old registered Republican got into a secure building where there were tons of law enforcement inside and somehow got past them and got on the roof. How that happens, I don't know. But those are the three.
Yeah, so let's do this in reverse order. Let's start with 3 and or C and work our way to A. And so this shooter must be a mastermind, like the smartest person in the universe. And he must be the smartest person in the universe to be able to sneak past the Secret Service. What was it, an AR-15 or one like it? So it's not a small firearm, but he was able to sneak it past all the police, all the Secret Service, all the people there, and were able to get up to a rooftop and have a direct line of sight like that. That he must be a genius, and he must have been planning this out for months and months and months, if that's the case. Alone, planning it alone. I'm like, what are the odds of that?
Not only that, he's on a rooftop that the Secret Service were afraid to be on. So because of the slope, that's their excuse that they had no one on. So this guy's a dynamo, more daring than the Secret Service.
And the Secret Service is trained to take a bullet. What does that mean?
I'm just amazed. Well, no, I don't want to talk about B or C. I'm getting to B and A. Let's just stick with this. So here's a guy that's registered Republican, and then goes and funds a total progressive campaign PAC for Biden. So something's not lining up, and usually, even a lone wolf has friends, and they'll there's a circle of people. So I think last I heard, and may have been updated, they're having difficulty getting into his phone, but I think a lot's going to be revealed once they get into his phone, unless they scrubbed it, which they have the technology to do that, scrub it completely. So we can pretty much put an X, but there are people that believe that he was on his own, and he went for it because he just didn't want Trump to become president. So that's C.
Okay, now you said that they're having trouble going through their phone. Okay. As far as I know, the NSA has been able to get into anybody's phone for many years now. They can literally turn your phone on and access the microphone, access the camera. I don't see why they wouldn't have a problem accessing that. And so, is it really hard for them to access the phone?
No, I think it takes time to create data that wasn't there before.
Oh yeah. Oh, I would agree with that.
As quick as AI is, it's going to take them some while to do it. So they need a day or so to get the right messages in there and all that stuff. So again, kind of getting out of the part, but it's just interesting to me how, again, it's caused the world to stop in some regard. And it's amazing to me because usually it's like, let's move on, but they can't move on from this. So whoever the bottom line is, I think it was a failed attempt. I think their goal was to kill whoever it was, A, B, or C. Uh,
Hmm.
and so, well, not so much A, but B and C. You know, that was their goal, and they failed.
And I don't want to tell you which one I choose until after we're done. But let's jump on to B. B is that it was staged by the swamp. Um, it could be Biden or it could not be Biden. Trump on his first presidency made a whole lot of enemies. Fired people. His main agenda was to drain the swamp, to get out corruption out of our government, to bring more transparency. And the thing is people don't like that. And so by what we're looking at with the absolute not ignorance, what's the word that I'm looking for? Stupidity of the Secret Service in this B section makes it look like that it was staged this way because there was a rooftop that was in direct line of sight to the podium. And where were the people that were supposed to watch that rooftop? They were in the building. Now, another thing is behind the stage where there is, I think there was 2 snipers on that rooftop, had a direct line of sight to the sniper that tried to assassinate Trump. So
They timed it, by the way. The media actually has a clip I saw. CNN actually did. I'll give CNN kudos for something. They showed the time lapse and they clocked it, and I think it was like at least a minute and a half that these 2 guys had line of sight, and there were audience members yelling to the local police, pointing, and so you've got all this going on, and then they use the lame excuse that they're on different communication systems. In this day and age, you're on different communication systems. Like, it's not coordinated. The local and the state and the Secret Service all should have been on the same channel.
yeah,
How does
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And then yeah, for them to have the delay, not have somebody on that roof, or if they didn't want to have somebody on that roof, they should have at least had a camera on there that would have seen somebody try to hop on the roof. And so that doesn't make any sense to me.
what song do you
Why?
think what song do you think he was playing when he was up there?
What song?
Was he listening to?
It's
Is it
the
all
end of the
right?
world as I know it.
Not my project. Wow, I was thinking in Nat King Cole, Up on the Roof, when this whole world's getting me down, then up on the roof.
Never heard of
So,
it. You're starting to age yourself, dude.
that's okay. Up on the roof. So the world was getting him down, so he went up on the roof. So here's the thing. He's this master, you know, if we go back to C, he's this master, you know, counterterrorism dude or whatever you want to call it. Not counter, green. He's better than the Green Beret. He's able to slip through. I mean, if you make a movie out of this guy walking in that building, how the hell does he get past all he's going for? Were they partying in that building? Were they asleep? Were they looking at their phones? I mean, what were they doing? Then you begin to realize that number one, he was in a BlackRock commercial. You know that, right, Aaron?
Mm-hmm.
And BlackRock owns the building. So now we begin to understand that. Interesting.
And BlackRock is Democrat.
Completely Democrat. And they're not only Democrat, they're, they're progressive Democrat. They believe in the World Economic Forum, Kurt, with whatever his name is, Klaus Schwab and, and Bill Gates and those priests that want to have 500 million people. But one kid, kid, close to their goal of 500 million. So, it's just interesting to me how this can happen.
Mm-hmm.
And you not say that something is at play. But, we're Christians, so we believe in that scripture that all things work together for the good for those who love and called according to his purpose, which we believe Donald Trump is loved and called according to his purpose. So you can see what the enemy meant for evil is going to be turned around for. Like you believe this is what sealed it for Donald Trump to win. Is this act. So is it directly Biden? No, I don't think, I'm not going to go the stretch and say Biden knew about it, but there were certain key players that I believe knew about it.
I don't think Biden is, this is gonna hurt me a little bit. I don't think he's coherent enough to even think about orchestrating something like this. I think his string holders are, he's a puppet, there's people holding his strings. I think they are, but I don't think that he's even aware. But the thing is even Biden waited to make an announcement. He's like, oh, I don't know if this is real, or I don't know, if it, and the news, maybe we need to jump on the news after we get done with A. Yeah, let's do that. Let's jump on A. What do you think?
So A is probably I consider A and C on the same ridiculous level. So you know where I'm leaning. Because for Trump, it would take a lot of planning and a lot of deviousness on his part. And he's not a devious person. He's a straight shooter. One thing about Trump is he stands for freedom and his country. And for him to go do something like this, he now becomes part of that very swamp he's trying. Because he was a bull slayer. He staged something, and it just doesn't make sense. Why are you going to stage? Well, some people can say so he can get the nomination, but again, you've got different ways. Him picking J.D. Vance is more of a Trump type of move than staging it, an assassination. Some people are talking about the blood pact that I mentioned. That he or the Secret Service had a blood pact on them, and the way they're taking the picture and they're showing the trajectory. So it's a stretch in my opinion. A is definitely a stretch.
Yeah, but if it was a blood pact, then there wouldn't be any live rounds going out. And obviously there was live rounds because somebody lost their life and people were injured. So there was bullets. But the thing is he would have to seriously bribe the entire Secret Service detail. Now, it would only take one of them to say no to ruin everything. And the thing is the Secret Service,
Everybody has a price, granted. So,
yeah, but not everybody has the same price. And to have it all at the same time, and it just doesn't make any sense. And the Secret Service wouldn't put their protectee in harm's risk on purpose.
So the same Eisenhower, okay, on his parting speech said the biggest threat to our country is industrialized military. So that's what I believe is behind this. I believe these three-letter, these. I want to be careful because, no, I'm not going to be careful. They're Luciferian. These people are Luciferian. There's no way around it. They believe that Satan is Jesus Christ's brother, and that is God. That's what they believe. They'll deny it at certain levels, but if you get behind it, you have people, because there are even whistleblowers coming out of that organization now, which is amazing. For years, there were no whistleblowers, and there's actual whistleblowers coming out of that organization, blowing the whistle, saying that a lot of these people in law enforcement, a lot of these people in, at all different levels, whether they're in cahoots with each other, no, but they have their own agendas, but there's a force that's out there, so the same people that have lied to us about so much in our history, lied to us in our history, are lying to us again. I believe that. I believe that completely. I mean, look, and, and, I'm a Trump supporter, but one thing he did make a mistake on, and I'll go on record in saying that, is with the vaccine. I mean, here Fauci comes and admits that he made it up. And I knew that from the beginning. I don't want to go down a money trail, but I'll be real careful. But I knew that from the beginning because where a good friend of mine worked, for infectious disease prevention, and the head of that department came out in the first meeting and said, "There's no science behind masks." The communication department hold him in and threatened to fire him, and he had to come out and change. So we look at this and we say, how? I think what has to happen is we don't need to get violent, but like our first episode, Staying in the Hall Carbon, we should find out if that senator's still in office. I'm sure he is. And not enough good people demanded his resignation. So I think the people responsible for this need to be called on carpet so that they realize we're truly in an information age, an age of enlightenment, not from a new age sense, but yeah, a brave new world. We're in a different world, and you can't get away with the stuff that you've gotten away with in the past. That's what's going to come as a result of it. I think that poor kid was told that they would protect him, that gave him the balls to get on that roof, and they killed him.
Yeah. I would like to see the autopsy record of him. Because even he might have had, stage 4 cancer or something. He might have known that he had a clock that was going to go out. Because even an unrational person would know that that's a one-way ticket. If you look at all the assassinations attempts through history, it's always been a one-way ticket. Like, they're going to shoot to kill. And that's what happened. I do want to talk a little bit about.
So you didn't tell you before we transition, if you don't
Okay,
mind, which one do you choose, A, B, or C?
I think it's B. I think it's orchestrated by somebody big. As far as who that is, I'm not even going to speculate. Even if I did have an idea, I wouldn't share it over our channel. But I do
Well,
believe it was orchestrated. What was
I'm a
that?
little, I'm a little braver than you. I do share. Look at the guy that worked for the CIA. You saw his interview, right? On his deathbed.
I think so.
Guy who killed Marilyn on Marilyn Monroe.
Oh no, I haven't
And
seen that one.
Marilyn Monroe slept with Fidel Castro in addition to Kennedy, and that's why they took her out. Two reasons: she's going to blow the whistle on the UFOs. She threatened to do that on a phone call. They had her on a phone call. Her phone was being patched. She had no idea. She threatened Robert um, or John F. Kennedy that she was going to blow the whistle on that whole alien thing. And the second thing is they were afraid because she slept with a communist. They were totally concerned. So they took her out. And he admitted it. He said she was the only lady he assassinated, but he's got a bunch of kills under his belt. So, it's the CIA. I remember hearing still I met somebody running for mayor and she almost divorced her husband over this. African American. Her husband swore that when he was in Chicago, the government would fly into a certain park at 3:30 in the morning with a helicopter, unload guns, drugs, and money. And she fought him. And then it came out. They actually had a clip of it. Somebody was bold enough to send the video out and then got squashed. They removed it from the internet very quickly, but she didn't argue with her husband. And then you have the movies, the series. I never watched it fully, but they had the series Snowflake, which talked about the CIA's. Not was it Snowflake or Snow something? I may be wrong on the title, but it was about the CIA involvement in the whole cocaine industry. How
Hmm.
they, again, and so you see the systemic evil that goes on, and it's no wonder Trump talks about good versus evil because it is. When you got a woman that is celebrated by the National Organization of Women that systemically is really against women and wants black children to be dead. That's the whole reason why Planned Parenthood came about is to have black children be aborted. And they're on stage saying this stuff and saying this a lot, so it's not like these people are going under cover. It's just that, the whole system is designed to keep us uneducated and just say yes. Just
Mhm.
let us or.
Yeah, and I think that's why a lot of people. That's why there's some people that are still thinking of voting for Biden. Um, they don't want all the information. They're just hearing, hey, this guy's bad and this guy's good, and you need to vote for the good guy. And they're saying that Biden is good. Um, yeah, I wanna go down a little rabbit hole real quick. Um, let's say there's a parallel universe, okay? And in this parallel universe, it's exactly the same as here, but on Saturday, the bullet went through his head. Okay. Now, what would that look like now if that attempt actually happened?
I think we have all-out civil war. I think that's the straw that breaks the camel's back. And because there's a lot of people, a lot is brewing behind the scenes. All it takes is some of these organizations just to kind of get together, the grassroots organizations, and I believe it will be civil war. I really do. I believe that people will be just so upset that if they finally, organize and go down and demand, demand Washington. I mean, I don't know. You're kind of, I have to be careful. But when do you say, Aaron, enough's enough?
Yeah. And what would a civil war look like? Because the thing is, it's American troops, army troops, attacking American citizens. Like, not just a little, like all over the place.
Well, that's why douchebag Durbin wanted to give, and he is a douchebag, I'll go on record saying that. He said on the floor of the Senate, he said, we want to give these Chinese nationals guns to work for the National Guard. And once they do that, we'll give them citizenship.
Mm.
How would he propose Chinese nationals and Somalians carry guns in the National Guard? Because why? They'll kill America. Whereas, National Guards, yeah, they're working for the country, but they'll question it. These other guys will not question, So you got people like that making decisions. It's just like, my gosh, it's just like it's amazing. I'm not surprised because the ruler and the prince of the air is in control. Really, when you look at it, and they could accuse me of being a conspiracy theorist, but the history's all there. It's all there in black and white. You got the guy admitting that he killed Marilyn Monroe, so you don't have to. That's another conspiracy theory that is now blown. So we're in this day and age where I think the light is exposing the darkness. What happens when you go into a room? You turn on the light in an apartment, the cockroaches scatter. You know what I'm saying? They get out of the light, and that's what's happening. Is these people can't run anymore? They can't run and hide. You got the whistleblower, Stephen Greer, with the government, high-level government, talking about, yes, Area 51 is real. There's actual, technology that's weaponized. We weaponize the technology. So, you've got stuff like that going on. And you can either keep your head in the sand and deny it, or, really start questioning, thinking for yourself that there has to be some kind of revolution. And I think it goes beyond Trump. It's going to take, in my perception, three administrations. So I think it's smart that he put JD Vance. If JD's a man, who knows? There may be a need for another party one day. I don't know. Because a lot of people do agree. It's two sides of the same coin. The Republicans and the Democrat, the organizations themselves, are two sides of the same coin.
Well, I think Trump chose JD Vance because their visions are alike. And so he's trying to find a legacy system that can keep it moving, because he only has this one term left. He can't go for another term. And I think that he's trying to get a game plan to do that. And the Democrats have the leaders of the Democrats have pushed onto the people saying, oh, if Trump gets in, he's not going to release power. If he can find somebody that has the same agenda and the same desire to see America free, why wouldn't he hand that over? He didn't really want to do this in the first place. He didn't want the power. It's just nobody else would do it. Nobody else would drain the swamp. Nobody else would have the courage to take the abuse. The abuse that Trump took is insane. But he's still moving forward. And so he's trying to find a succession to do that, a legacy to do that. I also want to talk about the false news stuff that's going on along with this. Me and Richie, we were talking, and Richie said, I don't think he got shot by a bullet. I think it was broken glass, because that's what people were saying. And I'm like, okay, that maybe it was. So where did the glass come from? The teleprompters that were right in front of him. And then you see footage of them getting on his back, and you see both teleprompters perfectly okay. But then it gets even worse. My listeners, it gets even worse. The news goes out and says, oh, there was a loud noise and Trump got scared and ducked. A loud noise? Trump got startled? Like really, people? Really? You're journalists. You're journalists. You should be bringing forth true information. Like, where's the standards for that? Like, you hear these whistleblowers, and you hear of journalists going out into the battlefield to get the news. Now, back then, the Vietnam journalists that would go out there with their camera, and those people had spines. The journalists we have now have no spine. Have no spine at all. And they'll just put false stuff out there. It's ridiculous. Like, and it's obvious. You have the footage. You have it live. Like, did somebody at the news place not watch the rally? Did not check their facts before writing out an article? Like, if I heard that, hey, somebody says Trump heard a noise and hid. Okay, well, let me watch it, see what happened, and then I'll write in the article. So I just think that that's absolutely crazy.
It's really interesting because Trump is the man to lead this thing. I'm just not convinced about JD Vance yet, and I'm not trying to be negative. And I know I'm switching off the news, but I'm going to tie it in. You don't really know what these people's agendas are. The thing about Muslims is they're long-term players. Muslims, are long-term players. So you look at the countries where, you're having, I forget the figure. If your average childbirth is below, I think, 2.1, Alex Jones was talking about this, 2.1. I'm not an Alex Jones supporter. I'm just saying that he was referencing the figure. But, you look at Muslims and they have 7, 8, 9 children. You know what I'm saying? And they want to dominate. They want to take over there. They get into politics. They get into the economics. They want to infiltrate. Well, we should start thinking, and we meaning the overall conservative base, the ones that want true change, and not tie it into Republican or Democrat. tie it to righteousness. Jesus is not a Republican. He's not a Democrat. He's certainly not a libertarian. He's for righteousness. So it's not so much of, but you've got these media people that are in the tank for one party, and it's clearly evident. It's clearly evident what party they support, and it's propaganda, and it's being paid for by, again, companies like BlackRock. So you look at, you follow the dollars, Aaron, and you say, but I personally don't know how these people sleep at night. I don't, and I always talk about this. The person in office is a mirror of at least 50%, 60% of of the voting, because they voted him into office. And yes, they did steal the election, but he did get millions and millions of votes. So there's a millions and millions of Kool-Aid drinkers out there that they buy this stuff. I got somebody on my Facebook feed that, just talks about how Trump, I'm just like, the very things that your organization is doing, you're accusing Trump of doing. So, it's like, is the media even media anymore? They're not. They're not true journalists. A true journalist would blow the whistle on their own industry. I'm waiting for the journalists. I mean, look at Tucker Carlson. He was a whistleblower. And
Mhm.
he got fired. Hey, I don't know if this is true or not. I didn't validate this, but I'll bring it up on air. Did you hear that Carlson's going to get a late night contract with ABC?
No, I haven't heard anything about that.
Well, I heard that'd be interesting if he gets on TV late night.
Yeah, yeah, that will be. Especially how I saw him on a speech, and and he's very blunt. But one thing that I like is one of the things that he says: if you want to take your country back, what do you do? You have a lot of kids, and you teach them your what you believe, and you raise up your children. And but I also want to get talk about back to what you were saying about uh Islam and stuff like that. Um, if we look at France, okay, and that's exactly what happened in France right now. Is they have a huge Muslim um community there. They have streets that have Sharia law. Like, there's signs posted, and if a woman crosses into that street with their head uncovered, uh they can be detained by the officials on that street and prosecute under Sharia law. And so that's really what it is. And um the saying, the price of liberty is eternal vigilance. And for the most part, I think us Americans, we dropped the ball. We dropped the ball. We aren't vigilant. We're not standing on that wall. And that's what we want to change with standing in the gaps. It's not just the following of that verse where God couldn't find somebody to stand in the gap, but also the fact that we want to be diligent. We want to see America step into her better years, not her worse years. We want our children and our grandchildren and their grandchildren to have an America. Because right now, under this regime, and I'm not even saying it's a presidency, it's a regime. It's yeah, it's not good. They're not doing a good job, and they're tanking it into the ground on purpose, I believe. And so that's why Trump stood up his first term. Yeah, that's how I'm gonna say it. His first term. And that's what he's gonna continue to do on his second term. Is to drain the swamp, is to put America first, and to make life better for America, not worse or not restricted. Um, Electric vehicles. Oh, under Biden, you have to have an electric vehicle. Like, there's going to be no other choice. And Trump, he's saying, you want an electric vehicle? Take it. Do it. But if you want your gas one, do that too.
Yeah.
But and so he's really pushing for freedom, and that's what we want to see.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, we all have the same desires. It's just that how you go about doing that. One believes in big government, having government take care of the family, having programs, national program. One of them believes that government is the solution, and the other one believes that government is not the solution. They should be the oversight and the checks and balances. Why do you have traffic lights? If everybody had a true moral compass, we would see traffic lights. You know what I'm saying? So, you need some kind of checks and balances. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I'm disgusted at our history. I'm sorry, Aaron. I'll go on record saying it. I don't believe Trump's slogan, "Make America." I don't believe America's ever been great. I believe her greatest day is ahead. You know where day is when the veil gets torn apart and we become transparent, where government becomes the true servants that Trump is honored. Don't misunderstand me. But I don't believe he's the one that's going to totally. I believe there's somebody out there that's going to right the wrongs. And I'm talking all of them. And you can do it. You can definitely, there's a lot of wrong things our country's done. I mean, you look at I don't put pharmaceuticals down. I've taken pharmaceuticals. But as an industry, as a machine, the genesis of that was hard. Look up what Carnegie and his cronies and Rockefeller did. They burned schools. They burnt them. They threatened them. They were bullies. They said, if you're not willing to embrace pharmaceuticals, we're gonna kill you. We're gonna take all your funding away. And they called chiropractors quacks for years. Quacks. They said they're crazy. Chiropractic. I watched my wife. If she thank God for chiropractic because pills didn't work. If she didn't have a chiropractor, she would have been bedridden. So you know what? I see wellness centers where, yes, you have medical, but you also have side by side. Why as an organization are we so threatened that we can't accept? Because why? There are some things that are wrong in all disciplines. So am I looking for utopia? No, I'm not saying there's a utopian society out there, but I do believe enough good people getting together, standing in the gap, enough good people, and that's all walks of life, all religions. I mean, Christians will lead me on this. You can go lead me. I don't give a rip. I'm telling you right now, God is love. And do I believe in Christianity? Yes, I believe that's the only route to eternal is through Christ. But how do you define that? There's 40,000 denominations. Do you realize that, Aaron? 40,000. What about that? Well, that just means that there's 40,000 different expressions. Am I going to say one's right or the? I personally believe a certain event, but I'm not going to put that on anybody else. If you believe your event, just stay with it. Just love your neighbor. Just love us enough to be transparent, to say, you know what? We need to make some changes. We need to make systemic changes. The FDA needs to be to be whitewashed. They need to be whitewashed. What's his name? Gates and the fake meat he's creating and the farms. This stuff needs to change. So I hope there's someday somebody that's totally gonna take it to where I believe it needs to go, and it needs to be a total reformation. See, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm a Theocrat. I believe in a theocratic form of government where God's lead. That's what I believe. God, family, then country or ministry, not the other way around. God, family, get your vertical alignment. God, family, then country and business. Anyway, that's where I'll end. I believe it's going to go in the right direction. I believe. Excellent. Well, I think that's about a wrap, right?
Yep.
All right, folks. So remember, same time, same bat station, 6 p.m. on the East Coast will be our next. And we got some, like Aaron alluded to in the beginning, we got some great guests coming up soon. So we appreciate your support, your loyalty. We ask you to just spread the word. You know, be Facebook, share, like on YouTube, comment. That all helps helps the cause. And so remember this: the best with a capital B is yet to come.